Hello and welcome to Science and UCAT. In this video, I'll be talking about the decision making section of the UCAT. I'll give some information about it and I'll be going through a couple of the questions. And so to start with, we have some quick info. The subtest has 29 questions, 31 minutes to do them in, and approximately 64 seconds per question. And let's get started with our first example question. Venn diagrams. Venn diagrams appear quite a lot in decision making, and so you should be aware that there will be times where you will be asked to, you'll be given some information and you would have to choose the right Venn diagram from the information that is given. This is one of the types of the Venn diagram questions, and I'll pause here for you guys to read the question and answer it for yourselves. Okay, so we know that based on the diagram that here we have to find out what the difference between the number of people who like punk, jazz and indie and the number of people who like only classical music. And so as you can see, punk is this diamond shape here, jazz is the heart, and indie is the circle. So we'd look for the intersection of all these shapes. As you can see, here's the diamond, the heart here, and the circle. And you'll be looking for this little section that I tried to outline in green here. And so we know that the total people who like these three is 7. And for classical music, the arrow here, we know that this part here, where there's no overlap, is the number of people who like only classical music, which is 3. And so to get to the answer, we just simply have to do 7 minus 3 to get our answer of 4, which is B. Right there. This is another decision-making question called probabilistic reasoning. You can pause here to go through that question yourself and have your own answer ready. Okay, so operation A and B are both suitable procedures, right? And so you must have already read the question now. So considering the probability of success and developing complications, is operation A the better procedure? And so the whole reason why this is called probabilistic reasoning is you are given probabilities here and here to work out which one is the better procedure. And so we see that there are 40 patients that underwent operation A, 32 were successful. For operation B, 22 were unsuccessful, which must mean around 78% for operation B were successful. And as you can see, this is an example of the UCAT layout. This is from the Medic portal, so you could go through these questions on their website. And as you can see here, you can click the calculator button here. You'll have a pop-up window. You can use it to work out what 32 divided by 40 is. That should get you 0.8, 80% in other words, which would mean that operation A has a higher success rate than operation B. And so without reading this part here, we could just simply look through these options for us here and find if there is anything significant that could be the answer. So yes, the operation takes less time than operation B. We won't know that because we haven't looked at that yet. Yes, although both have the same chance of complications, operation A has a better chance of success. We know that as we worked out what 32 over 40 is. And so this is most likely the answer. No, the operations both have the same chance of success and complications. We know this is not true as they do not have the same chance of success. And for the last one, no, operation A has a higher chance of complications. Well, we don't know that, but to be sure, we could check. We know for example, we know that 16 times 5 gets you 80. So we know that 5 in 80 patients undergoing operation A will have a complication, which would mean 75 out of 80 patients will not experience a complication, which is the same as operation B. So we know it cannot be the last one, and there's no information about Operation B taking less time than Operation A, so it must be B, which is the answer right here. We have now moved on to logic puzzles, another example of what you may come across in decision making. However, these types of questions can be quite simple, and at other times they could be more difficult. So you could pause it right now to work through the question yourselves and have an answer ready. Okay, so the question asks for how much money did Harry have before the shopping trip. So we know this section is for before they spent the money, and this section was after they spent the money. At the end of the day, Jenny has half the amount of money she started off with. So straight away we can get our calculator out and start halving these values here. And so we can see straight away that 80 will give us 40, 112 will give us 56, and 130 will give us 65. And if we check here, we have a value of 56, which seems to be the only match at the moment. 147 over 2 will give us a decimal, and 154 would get us 77. So there aren't any options for those. So we now know that Jenny started with 112. And so we move on to Chloe. Chloe ends the day with the most money, which is £132 here, but did not start with the most, which means Chloe must have less than 154. So it could be 80, 130, or 147. Matt started with the least. So Matt had 80. We know that Jenny had 112. So that leaves 130, 147, and 154. Richard spent £64 and ended the day with the second to least amount of money. So the second to least is £66. If we added £64 to that, we would end up with £130. And we know that Chloe did not start with the most amount of money. So this leaves Harry with having £154. These types of questions are here to have you think more, especially having a time frame of only 64 seconds. This could take a little bit of time. However, with some practice, you can easily get on top of how these questions want you to think and how they want to process the information as quickly as possible as well. So here's the answer. See, £154 was the answer, and let's move on. So we have a logic puzzle here. You could pause the video right now, like we did before, and have an answer ready. But let's get into it now. Okay, so we know Aditi has a bag of 520p coins, which is £1, 550p coins, which is £2.50, and 5 £1 coins. She replaces these when she removes a coin with this information here. So Mark bets that if Aditi removes a coin from the bag and replaces it with their appropriate coin, the total of the coins in the bag will be 9 or higher. So we know that the total, if we did £1 at 250 at 5, would come to £8.50. If one coin was to be removed, if we did 20p minus £8.50, we'd have £8.30, plus the 50p it got replaced with, it will get us £8.80. If we do this again with the 50p, we get £8, then add the £1, £9. So this will be the only one that will be £9 or higher at the moment. And if we remove £1, this will give us £7.50, and then added 20p, which would give us £7.70. This shows us that there's a probability of a third that Aditi will win the bet of having a bag with a total worth of £9 or higher. So if we were to look at the options here, we see that there's no way of the total being, we know that's not true, as one of the possibilities could be £9. The second one says yes, the chance the total will be less than £9 is more than 65%. We know this is true because technically 2/3 is 66.6 recurring percent, and so this seems to be the most likely of choices at the moment. C, no, there's a 2/3 chance that Aditi will win. We know that's not true. It's actually 1/3. And the last one is no, it's more likely that the total will be £9 or higher. We know that's not true because most likely would assume or infer that there's more than 50% chance that this will occur. So we know this is not true. So the answer is B, based off the information and through checking the answers here. However, the best way to go through this is once you have found the right answer, it would be best to choose it and move on, because you could end up spending too much time on these questions, which is not ideal at all. So we can move on to the next, the strongest argument. So you could pause the video here, read through the question, answer the question, have your answer ready, and I'll come back right now. Okay, so should a tax be introduced on fast food to encourage the population to eat more healthy food? Select the strongest argument. First one says yes. So there'll be, in this layout, there'll be 2 yeses and 2 nos. You just have to choose which you feel is the strongest argument. Well, A says yes, a similar tax on sugary drinks has been shown to reduce consumption. Well, we cannot assume that the same strategy used on sugary drinks will work on fast foods because they're completely different. Yes, those who most often consume fast food do so because it's cheap. A tax on fast food would therefore target this group in particular. Well, this is just assuming the fact that the tax would put people off. We can't just assume, as this section heavily depends on you relying on the information given to you. So it's best not to use outside information. So there'll be information that is not written in the text before you. So C. Now, although this may deter those who cannot afford fast food, those who can afford such food items are unlikely to be deterred. So we can see that they'll be deterred from this statement. We know that they might not, that those who cannot afford may be deterred, and those who could afford would be unlikely to. But this does not suggest that those who cannot afford would be encouraged to eat more healthily. So in this case, it will be the final option, D. No, people may simply buy cheaper forms of unhealthy food. It's therefore important to make healthy food more desirable. And so this is the correct answer. So thank you for watching. Please do subscribe, comment down below, share, and hit the like button for more videos like this. I may do some videos on chemistry. It could be A-level or GCSE. The same goes for some maths and for biology as well. So stay tuned for those as well. Thank you for watching.